Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so we got the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight in LA. It's going to be an interesting injury report here because you got Bron and AD both as game time decisions. Of course, AD had the shoulder situation where he could barely use the arm against who we last played, where D'Lo had his great game. Who did we play? It was Milwaukee. Giannis and them. And we ended up winning the game, as I said, but AD's shoulder was so bad, he had to suffer through some real discomfort throughout the course of the game. Also, Bron, of course, missed the last one with the ankle ailment that's going to continue to give him issues. He's just trying to rest up near the end of the season, if you ask me, prepare for the play-in tournament and whatever we were able to do after it. That's my opinion. And he may miss this one tonight. In one place, it is said that he's out. In another one, he said he's game time decision. So it's hard to tell. It's about 9 a.m. after the hour change spring forward that happened this morning around 2 a.m., which didn't actually happen because I was awake and I saw it go from 1 to 3. So, yeah, that was kind of weird. But nevertheless, that's what it was. So, we don't know if he's going to be playing. And, of course, Karl Anthony Towns is out for a month. He tore his meniscus. He'll be back for the playoffs from what I understand. And Ant-Man may miss this game as well after having a horrible shooting night against the Cleveland Cavaliers where he went 7 for 27, 0 from 7 from behind the arc. Yeah, not a great shooting night for him. They ended up losing that game in overtime. There was the infamous Rudy Gobert money sign to the referee game. All that is what the Minnesota Timberwolves are coming off of. They've lost 3 of their last 5 after being the best team in the Western Conference pretty much all season. They've started to slip with injuries to their 2 main guys. But in that same Cavalier game, the infamous Laker killer Naz Reid went off for 7 threes, kept them in it with his shooting. Nobody else could seem to really get it going but him, but boy, did he get it going against Cleveland. So, of course, we got to be ready for him. We know how Laker killers are. They only play really, really well when we're on the floor, but apparently Naz is starting to really pick it up while Karl is out, which shouldn't be too surprising because that's what he usually does. So we got to deal with him and Rudy Gobert for certain. They'll both be healthy. Now, I don't know what's up with Ant-Man. I imagine he would go since it's a Laker game. You know, people play against the Lakers when they're injured, but you never know. Mike Conley was also 0 for 4 from behind the arc in that last game. He will definitely be healthy. Jaden McDaniels, fantastic defensive player, and Swiss Army Knife will be healthy. So they got some players we need to be aware of. And Monte Morris is out as well. And they have another role-playing guy that I'm not familiar with. I forget his name, but he's also out. So, yeah, the Minnesota Timberwolves are down some people, man, and they're walking in hobbling. They've coming off 3 out of 5 losses. Definitely not what you would expect from a team that's been as good as they have been, but it's understandable. You know, the game before this one, they played against the Pacers, won a close game against the Pacers. If I'm not mistaken, Ant-Man dropped a lot of points. Is this the game he went for 44 or something like that? I'm not really sure. But, you know, they had also a game against, who did they play? The Portland Trailblazers. I believe they won that matchup. But Anthony Simons went for over 30 points on them. And, you know, this is a team that's just, like I said, hobbling in. They've missed some people and stuff like that. Has really derailed their momentum, and they want a game against us who's also hobbled because usually that's what teams need when they've been struggling as of late. They come in, play the Lakers, and get back on track. But it's a different Laker team, man. D'Lo went for 44, and he's coming in hot is what I'm saying to you. He had 9 threes in that game against the Milwaukee Bucks, and you know, wasn't anyone else able to score other than Rui Hachimura, who was cold in the 4th quarter. He hit a 3 around the 5-minute mark. Other than that, D'Lo was literally the only person who scored for us in the 4th quarter, which is absolutely phenomenal on his part and horrible on ours. We got to score the basketball. We got to put ourselves in a position to be more effective offensively. And, of course, we're going up against the #1 defensive team in the league right now. And then most of their defensive players are going to be on the floor. So that's going to be rough, man. That's going to be rough trying to go up against this Minnesota team. I know they're not playing their best ball, but all the people they need to guard us are basically out there, so we need to be careful with that. Yeah, that's really where my head is. When it comes to this Minnesota game, because they've had so many players going in and out of the lineup, because key players, particularly with Carl and Ant-Man, in and out, in and out, in and out, that's really what's cost them their momentum. And it's not something they're doing on purpose. These guys are just getting hurt at the absolute worst time for their season. That's really what it is. But they still have a core of players that they really can trust defensively. And because of it, it's going to be a tough night. I don't expect it's going to be easy whether Ant-Man plays or not, just because of what all they can do defensively to us and how much trouble we have as well at times defensively ourselves, for which this isn't the greatest offense without their best players, Karl Anthony Towns and Ant-Man, but still, as I said, Naz Reid can go off. So, yeah, we got to come in hot, man. We got to continue to give the ball to the hot hand. Hopefully AD can go, but I won't be upset if we sit him. I think it's probably smart to sit him, go the Boston Celtics route when we set Bron and AD, and just see if we could beat this team without both of them like we did the Celtics, given the fact that Karl ain't out there. But the problem is they have centers, man. Rudy Gobert, if you don't have Anthony Davis on the floor, Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid are going to have a field day. But just the same, I don't know that we can afford for Anthony to play hurt and then risk further being out or it not healing and him further being ailed. We're going to need him 100%. So you may have to call this a scheduled loss, Laker fans, depending on how it goes with the center position, because I just don't see a way for us to guard who we need to guard in the paint in order to be a serious threat against this team, even without Karl Towns. Rudy's going to have his way, and that's going to be the problem. So we've already lost 2 games to this team. Obviously, if we lose this game, the season series is over with, but we do have 2 more matchups against them, with this one included, to try to tie the series up. I don't know that it matters that much, seeing as fact is they're the 1 or 2 seed, depending on how things go with OKC. We won't. It would have never played in. It'll never be in play in regards to us having a home court advantage or anything against the squad. It'll just be bragging rights, for which I honestly don't think really matters when you consider the team that we're going against is number 1. So we want to win, but my gut tells me if we can't get Bron and AD on this floor, it's a scheduled loss. It just is. Jared Vanderbilt, from what I understand, he is listed as a game-time decision, but I do not believe that, man. Everything I'm listening to in regards to people talking about it basically tells me the injury report that I'm reading just ain't updating his status properly. He should be considered out. He should be considered out probably for another couple of weeks. So, yeah, NBA.com needs to get his act together. Vanderbilt is not expected to play unless something special happens and he just happens to pop up on the floor. I don't expect that injury report that I'm reading is accurate. It just ain't been updated properly or something of that nature. But you can't expect for Gabe Vincent to be out for certain. Cam Reddish is expected to be probable tonight. Of course, Christian Wood still out. Don't know how long he's going to be out. And, that's Castleton as well, of course, with the wrist. So I don't know if we have our new guy available at the center position, Harry Giles. I don't know if he'll be available. I know he's been playing good in the G League, though. It'd be great to see him called up for this particular matchup just so that we can have a little more center presence. And, of course, Jackson Hayes will be getting his share of minutes tonight, although Coach tends to go small at times instead of going with Jackson, which I don't think is right now because Jackson has been playing better basketball as of late. So you may just want to take the cuffs off of Jackson Hayes, see what he can do at big minutes against a guy like Rudy Gobert. Probably get in foul trouble and be off the floor anyway for you to run your small ball lineups. But at least give him a shot. That's my attitude in a situation like this where AD is really, really hurting. And the game that we played against Milwaukee where their shoulder was literally hanging, it was just 48 hours ago. So I don't expect it makes a whole lot of sense to suit up Anthony at all. If Bron can go, he can go. But from what I understand, the soreness in the ankle was pretty severe. So if that is not Cap, then he probably shouldn't play either. So, yeah, man, not overly thrilled about just how this matchup looks. Obviously, we're excited about D'Lo being able to run the offense and maybe get the ball to others as well as be hot tonight. Maybe he can have another one of them huge nights and make it something. Of course, he used to play against this Minnesota team, so that should always be in the back of our minds. Taurean Prince as well, Vanderbilt as well, if for some reason something shocking happened and he does play. These are all ex-Timberwolves that I know for a fact would love to beat their old team, especially with Carl not on the floor. That gives them a much better fighting chance against this particular roster. Noteworthy, the Minnesota Timberwolves over the last 2 games have shot under 30% from behind the arc. They're on a cold streak right now. So maybe that plays into what we see tonight, given the fact that they're on the road again, that kind of thing. But I wouldn't count on that, man. Mike Conley going 0 for 4, Ant-Man going 0 for 7. I would not count on them shooting that poorly in this building tonight. If Ant-Man plays, I don't expect that. So, yeah, man, we got to do something about Naz Reid. We know how Naz Reid is against the Lakers. We know that we're going to have a hard time guarding him. We're going to need him to just calm down and not be himself against us tonight, because it's rather annoying when all these players are out and he still goes for 30, 35 points. I mean, his last game, if I'm not mistaken, he had 33, which was his career high. We don't want him topping that against us. So we got to be aware of what it is that he can do, man. Shooting the 3 is an easy thing for him. Getting in the paint, dunking on people is an easy thing for him. And we just have a lot of trouble guarding that particular player, whether they have Carl out there or not. So that is somebody I want us to circle on the page there, and do the very best we can to rebound the ball against this team, which should clearly have the rebounding edge. In the last matchup, we did a good job of taking care of the basketball. I think a lot of that had to do with D'Angelo Russell controlling the offense. He only had 5 turnovers. He only had 2 of them himself. So we just got to continue to run things through him if Braun ain't out there, man. I love what he did out there. I love how he played. Obviously with 44 points and 9 threes, but just in general, he did some good things defensively. He still was unselfish, got the ball to others, rebounded fairly well. Just played awesome, man. That was his career game, if you ask me. And we just need that to carry over into this particular matchup where we're playing yet again against a contending team at the top of the conference. And hopefully, like we've done with the last couple of teams that were at the top of the conferences of these 2 conferences, we beat them. We beat the Celtics, we beat OKC, we beat Milwaukee now. You know what I'm saying? It's becoming a theme here where the Lakers see their number 1 guy and we knock them off. So Minnesota's obviously right up there with OKC. I think they're a half a game apart from one another. I say we put a loss on them. It's only fair we did it for Minnesota against OKC. Let's do it for OKC against Minnesota. Put a loss on them too. Balance out everything. So that's what I'm hoping we'll see. Obviously, we're fighting for our playoff lives. We're in the 9th seed at the moment. I don't think any games that I saw tonight should affect anything that goes on with us. Most of the teams that we're fighting with do not play tonight, so we can gain some ground. And that's our responsibility, regardless if we're going against a good team or a bad team. If we want to be a serious team out here going into playoff time, getting into that 8th seed and out of this 9th seed spot is very important. And given the fact that the Dallas Mavericks have been hobbling a little bit, they're not exactly playing their greatest ball. We need to step it up and try to pass them up. We need to get in there and put ourselves in a position to do well. The Golden State Warriors are starting to pick their game up. The Phoenix Suns have been picking their game up as well, even though they lost their last game, if I'm not mistaken, against the Celtics. We need to step our game up and try to pass these teams up. That's really what it is. And it's going to be kind of hard to do with our players hobbling at the wrong time, but it's next man up mentality around here. That's what it has to be. So, yeah, man, that's really what it comes down to, man. The Minnesota Timberwolves, doing homework on them, given the fact that Carl missed games and Ant missed games, and it's been rough. It's kind of hard to really tell what you're going to see today based on the homework that you would do over the last 4 games of that team. But what I can tell you is if we don't come in with a good scheme, they're going to force turnovers. They're going to block shots. If we don't come in ready to mix it up offensively, they're going to be able to hone in on whatever we're doing. And Rudy Gobert is considered the defensive player of the year right now, even though I honestly think it probably should go to Wemby as of this point. And so that's where we're at, man. I love Anthony Davis. I would love for him to get it, but it's not. I can't say that he should get it over those 2 guys only because at this point in the season, we just haven't been better in that way. We haven't been better defensively than those 2. I know it deep down we haven't. So, and given the fact that Anthony's hurt right now, it's going to be hard down the stretch from the last 20 games to prove that he's a better defender than Rudy and Wemby right now. Even though we know he probably is, but I mean, we just ain't been good enough of a team to really overcome Rudy Gobert. That's what it really comes down to. His team has been at the top of the West the whole time. And it's unfortunate that we can't go up against him fair and square tonight with Anthony Davis in theory, unless Anthony wakes up feeling much better, which, given the way the injury looked, it's probably not something you want to bet on. So, yeah, man, tough sledding for Anthony Davis in regards to the Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. I just don't think he has a chance of getting it at this point. But there's still 19 games left or so, and if the Lakers can go on a nice little streak here, maybe we can shock the world in that way. But it's going to be a tall task to do that without Bron and AD, even with D'Lo playing amazing as he has been. We need Rui to score better. His last game, he really did not score very well. We've talked a lot about that. In that fourth quarter, he was super cold. Throughout the course of the game, he was cold. He had some issues that I've been saying look around Rui, as far as his basketball floor awareness has just been poor. He has got to continue to develop in that way, keep his head up, look around, and make plays for others in live action situations. It can't just be tunnel vision, I'm going to score. That's not the best way to take advantage of the moment a lot of the time. And sometimes he'd be missing opportunities for us to get better shots by just being so tunnel visioned and lacking in awareness and floor vision. And so that reared its ugly head 2 games in a row now. And it's hard to co-sign playing him big minutes until he gets that under control. That's really what it comes down to for me. He frustrated me in that last one pretty bad. And I know he can play better. So we're going to need him to have a bounce-back game. He had a really good game against Denver, even though we lost the game. He was fantastic. And we just need him to – or was that Sacramento? Excuse me. That was Sacramento. We did not play well as a team, but Rui shot very well. We need that version of him to return tonight against Minnesota, especially if our stars are going to be out. So we know D'Lo can show up. He's on the hot streak. We need Rui to show up. Austin Reeves has been playing well. We need to continue to do what he's been doing. Defensively, he's been improving a little bit, but offensively, that 3-ball is finally falling in a way that it just wasn't in the first half of the season. We need that to continue tonight. And if we can shoot well from behind the arc against this team, we got ourselves a nice little puncher's chance without our stars, if that is what ultimately is to be expected. Maybe Bron gives it a go, given the fact that Anthony isn't out there, but I don't know. I don't imagine the word severe when it comes to ankle soreness is going to make it so that he plays in this game. I just don't see him playing. But we can sure use him, man. That's for sure. At any rate, yeah, man. It's a 6:30 matchup. Of course, you guys got to take into account that the hour change is in place. So, be ready for that game to come sooner because we've sprung forward. That's how that works. Spring forward, fall back. So that's where we're at with the clock. And the Lakers are going to be wearing their Sunday whites, Sunday's best. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be wearing their blue and white city. I think it's a city jersey. Is that a city jersey? I don't know what it is, but it's an alternate uniform that they use. The blue and white, it looks like smoke near the Minnesota lettering. So I like that uniform. They'll be wearing that tonight on our home floor. And yeah, man, that is where we're at, man. That's the pregame video I have for you guys, man. I don't know what else to say about Minnesota. Like I said, I didn't go over their games too closely because they were missing players. But at the end of the day, this is the best defense in the league. We know that. And you're talking about McDaniels, you're talking about Rudy, talking about, Mike Conley. If Ant-Man's out there, obviously him. This is a team that can defend, man. They really can defend. So we need to be ever so careful of taking care of the basketball. We probably don't win the rebound in total, but we really do need to hit shots tonight. That needs to happen. And hopefully our rotations can be tight, man. Hopefully those ex-Timberwolves can take this game rather seriously and want to take it to their old team. A guy like Taurean Prince, I don't want him to do too much, but if he's hitting threes tonight, it could sure go a long way in us being successful. Cam Reddish, it could go a long way if he's playing well, if he's hitting his shots. Obviously, we know he's going to defend well. This could go a long way in us winning. It's going to be a team effort tonight, man. With our stars potentially missing this game. Now, if our stars play, that'd be great. Obviously, would love our chances in that situation with Carl out and our guys in. But I'm just anticipating one or both of our stars not playing in this game. I really am. So we'll see what happens, man. Lakers Wolves, 6:30 Pacific to 9:30 Eastern. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.